me feel good.
So hello guys, welcome to stage 42, and in this week we are going to be doing the Gentec antenna and emergency brake pedal. Now I'm just finishing off, just popping my screws into the screw pots. We've got BP screws, EP, GP, and we've got this new one LP, and the LPs are 2.3 by 4mm, and we receive 4 of them. So I've just finished off setting up the pot, and I've just got them all out just to try and save a little bit of time. So let's go through the parts. So we will begin with 42A, the Gentec 525 antenna body, and that's this bit. Looks a bit like a radio dial or a dial of some description, and that's black plastic. 42B is very small part. Gentec 525 antenna center, and that's plastic as well. 42C is this Gentec 525 antenna base, and that's metal. It's like a little clip. So let me just adjust on the light's actually okay. Right, so 42D is I think it's this piece. Trying to get the orientation right. It might be this piece, it might, no, it's this piece, sorry, my apologies. So this is 42D, the fuel gauge, and let's see if I can get a really good close-up of that. There we go. So as you see, I think it's running empty at the moment, but that is the fuel gauge. Very nice little white piece as well on there. So 42E, this is the battery indicator, and again detail is absolutely amazing. So small you can't really see it. 42F is the switch panel, and that looks like it's going to be this one. And I can see that there are lots and lots of switches there. We have, can you guys even read that? I don't think you can. So we've got RLT bar, FLT bar, toppant, bolts, top strub, so that's top strobe, intools. So, and yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's lots and lots of different. They're obviously written in abbreviated format, and if you understand what they mean, then you'll look at them and go, oh yes. So 42G is switches, and there should be 8 switches. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have got them on a sprue, and I am concerned for this because this sprue is angled. And that suggests to me it's obviously molten plastic when it was made in a mold, and then it's all been trimmed off. But I wonder if, as it cooled, did it shrink? So are these distorted? So, but in the magazine it shows them as individual switches. So we're obviously going to have to cut these off. But I'm not going to cut them off until they're actually needed. But that is 42G. And 42H is the emergency brake pedal. So emergency brake pedal. So would there be an extra pedal? Because I always thought they only had 2 pedals in an automatic. But you know, that's me learning. So that is the parts. Let's get on with the build. And the first thing we need to do is to take 42A and 42B. So we have the antenna center 42B, and we need to put that small side up, and we need to put that into the middle of the antenna body, so that will go in like that, and we secure these parts together using 1 BP screw. And I'm just right, okay, that's what I suspected. Right, so we need to secure that with 1 BP screw. So I'll see if I can get away with my favourite screwdriver. No, because the head I need is too large. So we'll see if I can get away with a smaller one. This is a very small screw head, so you may find, yeah, that's perfect. Right, so we're going to screw that into there. If I can get the screwdriver to hold the screw. There we go. So that goes into there like that. And doesn't want to stop screwing. There we go, that's stopped. Right, so the next step then is take this assembly and affix it to the antenna base C using 1 GP screw. So let's get our GP screw ready, and that again is another tiny one. And when I say tiny, I mean in comparison to the screws that we're used to. In fact, that's so small that's not even sticking. So what we're going to do is the solid side, not the side that we've just screwed in. Sorry, just bear with me one sec. Okay, so I do apologise, I just had someone come to the door, so I had to answer that. So we take this 42C antenna base, and we take, see on this this piece we have a hole. What we want to do is screw this to the base through there using a GP screw, and I'm going to suggest that we pop the screw, we pop the screw in first through the antenna base, holding that in place, and we can just get that started by not turning the screw but by turning the antenna base just to get it going. There we go, and then once that's in, see that I've dropped it and it's still held. So don't need to hold the antenna base, just get that going a bit more, and now I'm just going to hold that there flush with my finger, and then as we start to get fully tightened we can just adjust that, and then we'll just finish that so it's not going to move around, which that is not. So we've got that on absolutely flush, so that's the direction it should go. Okay, and then that needs to go onto the dashboard next to our beautiful radio, and that will fix in place like that, and it looks like it's going to go with the screw showing rather than the screw away from us. So I will just double check that. Yes, so I can see in the later stage it's actually going to be going in that way round with the screw showing. So for that we need 4 GP screws. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to get 2 out. Now I'll get all 4 out, but we won't need, I'm going to split them into 2 piles of 2. I think my magnetized screwdriver isn't working quite so well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one corner, I'm just going to screw that, oops, this really isn't having a good time today, is it? I have got a magnetizer, I think I might just give that a couple of strokes with the magnetizer. Right, so pop the one screw in, we only need to get it in enough to bite. It's not fully tightened. Don't need it fully tightened because we need to just maneuver this around. So what we'll do now is we will pop in the other corner, get that lined up. I meant to say the first screw we can put any corner in. Right, I'm just going to find that magnetizer. I'm obviously having a little bit of a problem. So magnetize, let's give that a couple of strokes. Once you get it in, it should be okay. I'll try a different screw. Maybe I'm looking for things to blame, but yeah, I seem to be having. Okay, guys. Really are small fiddly screws. These are much, the screwdriver head, the actual screw head is a little bit smaller than what we're used to. I'm not giving myself an excuse there. You know what, I'm going to try a smaller head. I don't have a smaller head to try. Right. So, I don't think this one's going to work. Do you know what? This one might actually work. Wow. So, I need to look at my screwdriver and my screwdriver head. So, I've got two screws in that are just enough to bite. And then that gives us, now it's in position with two screws, we can now put the third one in, again just enough to bite, and then we pop the fourth one in, right, I'm happy with that fit, they all go in, so now I can just tighten the screws up, and I'm only going to go until they tighten up. Once they increase resistance, I can stop, I can check the fit. I'm very, very happy with that, so I will stop there. So stage 2, right, we need to fit the switch panel and we need to use these pieces. So I am still going to cut them off one by one, but looking at the looking closely at the magazine, I can see that they're going to be cut there. It's a little notch there. So using a very good set of side cutters, I'm going to hold on to the piece. I'm going to cut them off like that. So it looks like we want the long end to go through the panel. So right, I think I'm going to need tweezers for these. So I'm going to use this tweezer. It actually looks like the short end's going through. Yeah, no, it's the long end going through. So the long end is going to hold them in place. So being very careful, because we are not getting spares of these. There you go, there's one switch in place. So we'll just continue. Now I'll show you another method of doing these. If you're worried about the parts springing off, get yourself a piece of masking tape. and cut it longer than the panels. Then we take that masking tape and we pop it over the parts. This is slightly more fiddly, but a little bit safer. So there we go. So we've now got all of those parts are stuck to that piece of masking tape. So what we can now do is take our side cutters. We can now cut every single one off. When you've cut the last one off, see that every single one is ready for you on a piece of masking tape. And then what we'll do is we'll fold this end down so that it sticks to the table, and if you're really clever you could always fold this end down as well. So that's just another method. So we will take one of them, holding them carefully with tweezers, push that into there like that. They're quite easy to go in actually. And you might want to consider doing this over a tray. The reason being, anything with a lip really. Right. So look, so this is my little drawer I've got for the Ghostbusters. Preferably you'd have an empty one. But as you see, as I'm working, if I should drop my part, it's fallen into the tray. But you know me, I'm a rebel, so I'm not going to use the tray. I've actually got a large enough table with a big lip around it that this table is in effect a big lip, a big tray, sorry. So second one going in, there we go, that went in perfect. Now this one seems a little bit loose. Yeah. So what I'm going to do when I finish this, it doesn't tell you to do this in the instructions, but I'm just going to go around the back with a little bit of super glue, and that will secure those in forever and a day. So that's the fourth one in, so we're halfway there now. You don't have to put them in any particular order. I'm doing from top to bottom. You could do bottom to top, or you could just pick random numbers and maybe do the second, the fourth, the sixth, the eighth, and then do the first, the second, the third. But this one is giving me a few problems. I wonder if the pin is just slightly fatter, or maybe I just can't get the whole. Right, I'm having to push very hard on that, so yeah, I can actually see that the pin is a little bit fatter. So what I'll do is I'll just cut the end, slightly angle it. That's not a problem. It's just one of those things that happens. Yeah, see, that's gone in absolutely fine. Right. So there's a lot of people might be watching this that are real experts on this Ecto-1. Are those buttons actually silver, or will you be repainting yours? I haven't done the research yet on this. Okay. And I have actually just lost a button. It just went flying over in the back direction, which means it's either landed at the back of my cutting mat, or it's gone into one of my shelves, or gone into one of the drawers. So yeah, as I was saying, we'll I mean, I haven't done the research on these buttons yet. I've only just found out we're installing them. So what do you think? I mean, it looks beautiful even if you just leave it as it is. Alright guys, so I can't locate that button at the moment. I can't see it. I'll have a quick look. It's not gone in my water pot, which is rather useful. Doesn't look like it's gone on the shelf, so it might have gone into one of these drawers. I love these little drawers, but they do have a little hole there for the handle. So okay, I'll find out later. Right, so next stage then, we need to fit that, and we will be fitting it onto this, which is the part with the brake pedal and the glove box, and we need to turn it this way round, and we need to place that. We have a locating peg there and 2 screw holes. So we need to place it with the switches facing towards the driver, and the locating peg is going to go in there, and then there's 2 screw holes there, and that will go in like that. So that will then go in with 2 BP screws. So BP. I just figured out why it didn't magnetize. Yes, that's, yeah. So I tried to magnetize my screw head earlier, it's still not actually magnetized. I think I had it a little bit too close to the demagnetizing side. So, right, put the screw into there. And that's gone in just enough to bite, as I always do. And I also forgot to actually glue these. So if you're a little bit unsure about these switches, just pop a little, see if I can find a cocktail. So I had a cocktail stick. So a little dab of glue, and just pop a dab of glue there like that. And then that will stop those switches from falling out. I think in hindsight my switches will be fine. They were difficult to push in, and usually when they're difficult to push in, they're difficult to pull out. Right, so that I'm happy with the lining up of that. So we'll just tighten that up more, and that's the wrong screw head. If your screwdriver is slipping, it usually means that you've got the wrong screwdriver head in. Sometimes it's just not wide enough. Sometimes I find with these, a wider screwdriver head is better than a deeper one. There we go. Very happy with that. Right, I think I've just knocked one of those switches. So I will do the super glue method. So we'll get an old piece of plastic, and I'll just put a dab of super glue in there. Not much. Just enough to do the job. And then what I'll do using a cocktail stick, I'll just stroke that with a bit of super glue. We know this is behind the panel, so we're not going to see it. Just want to make sure the super glue is touching the switch. Like that. This one doesn't even need to be neat and tidy. There we go. I'm not getting the super glue on the screw, even though it doesn't matter. But yeah, so obviously there's one missing because it just went pinging across my work desk, but that'll turn up. I have every confidence. Right, so the next stage then is fitting the dials. Sorry, I've just noticed something. Okay, no, that's fine. I saw a piece coming up from there, and from the angle in the magazine it looked like there was something we were meant to install, but it was actually the pedal. Right, so take the fuel gauge 42D, which I believe is this one, because it can't be this one, because A, it's a different shape, and this says nothing about fuel. So that is going to go there, onto those two holes there, and that will be fixed in place with 2 EP screws. So might be wise to just put the screw through there and bring it in place, and I'm using the middle one because I think that's going to be the harder of the two. I think that the end one is easier to reach. I say it's the easier, you know, it might, I mean, I think doing this, it'll be no different doing the middle or the end, but when we come to put the second screw in, that end one will be easier to put in. Right, so I can see that these screws are going to go in at a slight angle, and you can tell that from the way that the dial is positioned. There we go, I think that's going, there we go. So if you don't screw it in at an angle, it doesn't go in. Also, if you don't line the screw up, it doesn't go in. Right, okay guys, I am struggling. Right. So you can see there that the screws are angled, the screw head holes. So I'll go back and I won't do it, I'll do the end. There we go. I think my screw holes weren't lined, I don't think these are lined up either. Right, that's in. So once we've got the first one in, that one's going in a dream. So there we go, so there's one dial done, and then the second dial, which is this one, you've got a locating peg there and a screw hole there. That's just simply going to go in with an EP screw, which I've now lost. They're here. Oops, that's fallen off, but it would do because it's not secured with anything. So hold that into place, locating peg, screw hole, we go, guys. So that's in nice. Now, there you go. So, really happy with this so far. So now we have the last piece, which is the emergency brake 42H, and that's going in there. Right, let me think about this. Right, so that wants to go in like that. So we've now got two pedals. So it's going to go in like that. So we actually want it to be in like that. So you can see we've got pedal 1 there, and I don't think that pedal is going to move. So let's get an EP screw out. I'm trying to get one, and I'm getting hundreds, or I'm not getting any at all. Right, whoops. So you can always tell when this is the right way round, because it's just really not going to work properly if it's the wrong way round. So that's screwed in place. Now I think that might be a little bit too hard, because I've just squished, there we go, I've just squished the plastic a little bit, but I don't think that's a pedal that's intended to be used. So that's not really secure, hard secured on there. Maybe they could have used a screw with a wider head, but as long as you don't press it. The only concern I'd have is that someone went, oh yeah, that does the brakes, what does this one do? And then they might just push it too hard. So just be careful with that, guys. And having said that, I nearly broke mine. Okay, so we now need to combine the dashboard panels, and the way we do that is that we take the upper and the lower dashboard panels and fit them together with 3 LP screws. So let's get 3 LP screws out at the ready. And I think this is genuinely going to be the best screwdriver for that one. So 3 LP screws. One has been loaded up ready. So let's see how this goes together. So we have this piece is at the top, which means this piece is the bottom. And let's look at it from the front, shall we? I think that will help us. Yes. So you've got 2 notches there, which is just nicely ready for those. So we can see that that's going to go together something like that. Then we're looking for 3 screw holes there, there and there. And I can see them there, look. You've got a screw hole there. You've got a screw hole there. And a screw hole there. So if I put those together. So shall we put the middle one in first? Just enough to bite. That's brought that together. Then we will pick one or the other sides. I'm really having a tough time with my screwdriver today. I don't know why. Be careful on this side because we have this spotlight handle. So remember that, it's already come out for me once. So now this, for me, I have done a bus, but this is my first actual car build. And I didn't do the Back to the Future DeLorean, but I noticed that there was an awful lot going on with the dashboard, which you would expect, wouldn't you? There's knobs and lights and twiddly bits. And I noticed that this one seems to be going the same way. So I'm quite excited. This might be a really tricky build with all these wires. It might be impossible, it might be easy, I don't know. but let's see how it goes. So this is stage 42 built, and I am rather happy with this. So we built most of this in stage 4 in this pack. There's an awful lot going on, and we've got all these exciting looking wires. Are you guys as excited as me? So that is the end of stage 42. It's also the end of pack 12. So I have absolutely no idea what's coming in next month's pack, except for this little picture, which I will bring up at the end of the video. So what are we looking at? We've got 4 handles there. That looks a little bit like the chassis that we've already installed. I don't know. So yeah guys, so that's it. I'm going to call that the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to catch you in the next episode. Take care then. Bye.